Hi guys, Joey here with Joey Scale Models, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a model I just picked up recently, and that is the F-15E Strike Eagle from Revell, and this is in 1/48 scale. It's a great kit. It's certainly not a newer kit. This kit's been around actually for quite a while. In fact, I think the first time this kit was released was in the late 1990s, and then it was released again in the early 2000s, which had this artwork on it. And if you remember, some of you guys might remember the old box that had a blue stripe across the top with a red stripe across the top, and it said Revell-Monogram. But it was the same artwork. And then of course the third version is the one that I have here, and this one came out in 2011. And it still has the same artwork that was on the version that was released in 2004, but you don't have that stripe across the top. It's strictly just the artwork. It's a great kit, lots of detail to it. If you're familiar with Revell, you're probably familiar with their rating system. This one's rated at a skill level 2, and basically what that is, and I'll flip the box around, is Revell and Monogram have these skill levels here. And the skill level basically tells the modeler the complexity of the kit and the difficulty in putting it together, and then they have age appropriate numbers to go along with those skills. Now this is skill level 2, which for the age group that would be age 10 or older. So what they're basically saying is a 10-year-old can start building this kit, and of course it's probably more tailored to teenagers and adults. This kit is very detailed. There's a lot of tedious parts to it, a lot of tiny parts to it. It takes quite a while to put it together to make it somewhat detailed of a kit. So for a 10-year-old, sure, they might be able to get it together, but it's certainly not going to look like it probably should. I probably would have put a skill level 3 on this kit, but they being Revell, are probably looking at a marketing ploy by putting it as skill level 2, hopefully to target a larger group of modelers. At any rate, it's a great kit for at least teenagers and adults for sure. Let's take a look at the side of the box. The side of the box has some real nice views of the completed kit. The cockpit area, top, and the afterburner area. One end of the box shows the side view of the model. That's a great view. On the opposite side of the box, you have the dimensions of the kit and all of the options and details of the model, and also you have a couple more detailed views of the completed kit. And then of course on the other side of the end you have a nice, probably a 3-angled view of the completed kit. And just to show you, this almost looks like the real airplane, but this is actually the model. That's how detailed this model kit is. Okay, let's go ahead and open the box up, take a look inside. I'll go ahead and remove the box cover here. Okay, and right away you'll notice the large box area, lots of parts inside. Now one thing I like about more recent Revell and Monogram kits is that company is starting to put supports inside their boxes, like this cardboard support here. That's really nice because these boxes tend to be rather flimsy, and if you have a lot of models in your collection like I do, and you like to stack them on your shelves, they tend to get crushed. And by putting these supports in there, the boxes are a bit more sturdy. Taking a look at the first bag of parts, you have 2 parts trees in here that comprise the upper and lower halves of the main fuselage. You also have some wheel well doors, actual wheels back here, and also the wing tips. What's neat about this is if you take a look right here, the 2 trees are actually locked together, so they will not slide back and forth. The 2 trees will not slide against each other inside the bag. That's really nice. That keeps the parts from getting scratched and dinged while they are being in transit. Another thing you can do here is you can pull this right apart like that. So you can pull the 2 trees apart, but then they also lock right back together. So that was pretty nice. The next bag of parts comprise 1 parts tree. This is probably one of the most detailed trees in the whole kit. You have the 2 conformal fuel tanks which are indicative of Strike Eagles. You also have the cockpit tub. You have the ejection seats, the instrument panels, the landing gears. You also have the jet intakes and the intake tunneling, which go from the intakes back to the first stage compressor fan. And then of course you also have right here the afterburner cans, which, by the way, on an F-15 Eagle, these are not the turkey feathers. If you're familiar with the F-15E Strike Eagle, in a lot of the later models of the F-15Cs, those versions do not carry turkey feathers. So what you're actually looking at is the actual iris of the variable exhaust. The iris of the variable exhaust is the part that opens up and closes, and opens up and closes. That changes the variable thrust and the variable exhaust. Now, they used to have turkey feathers that aerodynamically smooth those out, but they figured through over the years that really didn't do a lot to the aerodynamics, and all it did was add extra weight, so they ended up getting rid of them. So these are turkey featherless exhaust nozzles. Here's some other detailed parts. These right here are actually the shackles, the anti-sway shackles that go on the bomb racks. And there are a lot here. They're very small, very tedious to put those on. You also have the actuators right here, which go to the turkeyless featherless exhaust cans. These are also tedious to put on because you have to put these all the way around these exhaust cans. And by putting these on here, you're replicating those exhaust cans without the turkey feathers. And again, just like the shackles, these and these are both very tedious to put on. So that's why I find it a bit difficult for 10-year-olds to put this together. Okay, the next bag of parts comprise the forward fuselage. This is the nose cone, and this is what would house the cockpit tub. You have the intake housings. You also have the canopy frame here and the speed brake. You also have the lower halves of the main wing, the afterburner cans, and of course the vertical stabilizers are also included. Next we have the canopy. The canopy is molded in two pieces. You have the windscreen, which is right here, and then of course you have the actual canopy itself, which is right here. But unfortunately, the main canopy, I don't know if you can see it, but right down the center line there's a seam that runs along there. You can see it right there, that seam. For some reason they molded that canopy with a seam right down the center. That was a bit disappointing. Somehow I'm going to have to remove that. I'll probably take 600 or maybe 1,000 grit sandpaper and sand it off and then polish it with plastic polish. But that was a bit of a disappointment. Okay, taking a look at the next bag of parts. Again, it's a single parts tree in that bag. This comprises the wing pylons for the weapons. It also comprises the TV and laser guided targeting systems. And then you get 4 Sidewinder missiles. You also get the conformal fuel tank bomb rack here. And then of course you have the fuel tanks. You only get 2 fuel tanks and they come in halves. So there are 4 pieces here because there's 2 halves per tank. And this is an interesting thing here. If you notice on this parts tree, you have all this empty space here. Now another disappointing part about this kit is this is a Strike Eagle. And the F-15E Strike Eagle is the ground attack version of the F-15. So it would have made sense to have this kit come with bombs. You would want to have air-to-ground munitions to model with your air-to-ground weapons delivery airplane, that being the Strike Eagle. Well, unfortunately, they didn't supply any bombs. So if you want bombs with your Strike Eagle, you're going to have to go to an aftermarket kit, maybe an upgrade kit, or even your spare parts box to find bombs to put on this kit. You don't even get AMRAAM missiles. You don't get the AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles. All you have are Sidewinders, and that's it. So that was a disappointment. Okay, taking a look at the instruction sheet. The instruction sheet is very typical of Revell and also Monogram. They're the same company, so they're very similar. The instruction sheet comes as a booklet. It doesn't come as a fold-out map, if you will, kind of instruction sheet. Instead, it's a booklet, which is nice to handle. It doesn't take up space on your workbench. It comes with a nice history of the F-15 Strike Eagle. It's also in English, French, and Spanish. Opening it up to the first page will reveal the paint guide. You also have your detailed parts list on both the front and back pages here. That's really nice. You're going to want to have this parts list because if you lose or break a part, this is where you would go to reference it and then call them and you can get a spare part. And like all aircraft models, it starts out with the construction of the cockpit tub, and then the cockpit tub is attached to the wheel well, and then that's attached to the forward fuselage, and then you do the main fuselage, and so on and so forth. Again, the instruction sheets are nice. They're not comprehensive in terms of text. They are more pictorial in nature, which is probably good for those younger modelers out there. But there's not a lot of text to it. At the back, you get your decal placement and color guide. Now, the first two pages show you the markings for the stenciling. And so if you notice, it says common in both aircraft. The reason why is because this is just the warning placards that you would find on all F-15s. So this is the top and bottom stenciling. On this side, you get the two squadrons. There are two options. You can make one aircraft from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. You can make another one from Mountain Home Air Force Base, which is located in Idaho. And that pretty much comprises the instruction sheet. And then the decals are very nicely done. These are the decals. The decals are covered with a wax paper to protect them. You can peel that back. And you will see that there are an extensive amount of stenciling, very comprehensive, very typical for F-15Es and very accurate for F-15Es. Again, the two squadrons that you can make are either the one from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, which is out on the East Coast in the Carolinas, or you can model one from Mountain Home Air Force Base, which is in Idaho. That one's a real nice one because you get these little orange tiger stripes which go up on the vertical stabilizer, so that's pretty nice. So the decals are very, very nice with this kit. Okay, so that's a look at Revell 1/48 scale F-15E Strike Eagle. Again, it's a great model. The only gripes I have are probably the fact it doesn't come with bombs, and the canopy comes with that annoying seam down the center that I talked about earlier, so I'll probably have to remove that. But other than that, it's a great kit, well detailed, and should be a pleasure to put together. It certainly will look great when it's finished, and I'll probably have a video up of this model during its construction process, and then also have a video when it's completed. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate it, and until next time, take care.